Katara, Waterbending Master, has the potential of being the best card inside the entire set, the Last Airbender Eternal Avatar of Aang set. I'm personally gonna go with the Cabbage Merchant being better, but it's definitely up for a debate, as Katara Waterbending Master has a lot of things going for her. So this is a 2 mana cost blue when 1 generic for a legendary creature human warrior ally, and it's a 1/3. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you get an experience counter, which is going to synergize with anything else that is accumulating experience counters for you. This is not a counter that is sticking onto Katara, it is a counter that's sticking onto a player. So if she dies, you keep your experience counters, and if you accumulate experience counters from somewhere else, from another creature, those will synergize with her too. So if you want to build a casual experience counter tribal deck, this is an upgrade for that whatever build you're having. However, when Katara attacks, you may draw a card for each experience counter you have. If you do, discard a card. That is really good. Building up experience counters with her is not going to be hard. You can cast a Mystical Tutor, Brainstorm on an opponent's turn, Fierce Guardianship, counterspelling interacting with anything one of your opponents are doing during their turn, Force of Will. You get the point. Just fill your deck with instant speed interaction, like Submerge, and Katara Waterbending Master will accumulate a lot of experience instant. Considering that there's a lot of interaction on blue, Color Identity, that are free to cast, no mana spent whatsoever, you could potentially put her into play like turn 1 with a Chrome Mox or Lotus Petal, or turn 2 in a normal sense. Past turn, no mana available whatsoever, someone does anything, and you interact with one of your many different free to cast interactions, which I've mentioned previous. And then you go to your second turn and you attack with her and you just refill your hand. And this is an ongoing effect. You keep the experience counters, so when you attack the second time, you might have built more experience into her, which means that maybe you're drawing 6 cards this time on the second attack. This makes this card similar to how a One Ring operates, as it becomes stronger over time, and as experience counters are not connected to her, if she dies, which she is eventually going to do, like people are gonna get tired that you're drawing so many cards, she's gonna go back to the command zone, you can recast her, and once you attack again, all the experience counters you've built up will just refill your hand instant, making it possible with the enormous card draw that she potentially could have. Having her as a commander, playing a very interactive game, might actually work out. It doesn't really matter what kind of combo you're on, if you're able to just draw enough cards and interact with everything your opponents are doing. Once you're counterspelling like 5 spells each turn cycle, I don't care what your win con is, you're going to win. Just put like equipments on her or whatever, Voltron them to death, or whatever. Draw your entire library manually and win with a fastest work. Don't do that, there are probably much better ways mono blue can win if you want to play her as a commander. But I actually think that this might be the best mono blue commander. She's going to come into play super fast, you are rewarded by interacting with your opponents during their turns, and she's going to be a card drawing menace. Once again, the only problem she has, it's kinda tricky to win games in mono blue. Except there is a cool trick, which is extra turn spells. So once you have a way to like draw somewhere around like 4 cards each turn consistently, you can play something of an extra turn game. Nexus of Fate could literally be this commander's win con, but honestly I don't care. Like, once you draw the amount of cards this commander can potentially give you, mono blue should be able to figure something out. I'm just seeing Nexus of Fate as the best option at the moment. I'm sure there's something better. I guess you can play Leveler and Thassa's Oracle. First you cast Leveler for 5 mana, exile your entire library, and then you cast Thassa's Oracle, so it's a 7 mana win the game. However, at that point you might just go Nexus of Fate instead, that's also 7 mana, and that will also pretty much just win you the game. However, what about having this inside your 99? For example, let's say Vivi, the black mage Iset Vivi. I think Vivi is going to love this card. It already plays a whole bunch of cards you can play in instant speed during your opponent's turn. Now I want to emphasize, Vivi is the core game plan. Get Vivi into play, get Curiosity, win the match. However, people are going to interact and kill your Vivi, so it's good to have that, the Wandering, Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, to make sure that you're getting somewhere, you're drawing cards and rebuilding your plan A game plan when people are like killing Vivi over and over. And this is a card that is going to help that. This is a variant to those card draw mechanics. Then what about Blue Farm? Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you get an experience counter. It doesn't specify non-creatures, so your opposition agent, your Orcish Bowmaster is going to trigger this too. Vampiric Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Swords to Plowshare. I think you get my point. Blue Farm has a lot of instant speed interaction and tutors of various color identities, even Mystical Tutor here, like Enlightened Tutor, Vamp Tutor, Mystical Tutor, is going to fuel experience for this creature that makes her into a powerhouse card draw master. I literally think that every single commander deck that plays a high density of spells that can be cast in instant speed, preferably instants of course, but flash too, is going to securely make this into a card drawing super boss whenever you're putting this into your deck list. So any deck list that literally has a lot of instant spells that can be cast on an opponent's turn is gonna, in my opinion, auto-include this creature. It's going to hurt a ton though when an opponent casts an Orcish Bowmaster in response to your card drawing trigger. So in the end, this card is definitely a powerhouse and will probably pop up in a lot of commander decks out. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a big feeling we're gonna see more busted cards coming from this set, so more card reviews are probably coming up. Until then, take care guys!